year ago today, I left everything behind to pursue my mission and my purpose, to create my dream reality, to reach my full potential and do all the things I knew I was capable of doing but not taking action on. I left behind friends, family, a career, a decent paying job, but I also left behind an amazing woman, my ex-girlfriend. A ride or die, 10 out of 10. All the things you would want, extremely feminine, tons of polarity in the relationship. But the truth is the relationship was already broken. It already had cracks, and it was bound to fail. Not because of her, all because I knew I wasn't the man I was capable of being, yet. And this decision to move across the world, to move to a country I'd never been to before, quit everything, and make sure that I carved my own reality, built a business online, and made sure my life looked exactly the way I wanted it, taught me a lot of lessons about business, masculinity, your ability in the real world to leverage a physique, but about how to actually keep a good woman, and all the things I did wrong and all the things I did right. See, the truth is, it's not about dates, flowers, writing them poems, these acts of love. It's about 5 non-negotiable things. It's about having purpose. It's about action. It's about fitness, growth, and lastly, respect. If you want to maintain a relationship with a good woman, one of the most important things that I've learned, which is absolutely essential, and I mean maintain a good relationship, I don't mean probably what you see your parents as or maybe some of your friends where they're kind of just together because it's comfortable, there's no sexual polarity, they're not that attracted to each other, they're there because it's easy. They sit on the couch, watch TV together, things like that. I'm talking about high sexual polarity, great chemistry, super passionate. You guide her, she follows you, she feels safe. You need to have a mission as a man. You need to have a North Star that you are always working towards. But I mean actually making changes. See, if you don't have a mission, your mission becomes her, and that kills attraction immediately. Women do not want a man that is all about her. That's why doing these dates and flowers, these are nice gestures once in a while, but they're not going to maintain a relationship. They're not going to keep that sexual polarity high. You need to make sure you're extremely driven. You wake up with purpose every day and you know exactly where you're going and you have a vision for the future. This is extremely important because she then starts seeing herself in that vision. And I'm lucky I always had this, but one of my biggest issues was I wasn't taking aggressive enough action. See, I made the decision to move to Bangkok, Thailand, and I booked the ticket 3 months in advance. In reality, I should have done it immediately. And could that have killed the relationship? Yes, but at the end of the day, I still would have been respected. And that is one of the most important things in a relationship. See, for men, love doesn't really mean anything from a woman. It's nice, cool. But respect is much more important. That is what's going to maintain a relationship. That's when she's going to listen to you, allow you to guide her. And that is what is actually going to make you the man in the relationship. You need to be respected in a household. And this is why relationships crumble. You see all these, domestic issues. It's because the man's not respected. He has no power in the household. And then the woman has no sexual attraction to him. So you need to have a mission that you're always working toward and actually taking aggressive action to, but you need to make sure that from that action, you're getting respect. And the only way to do that is by actually doing it, being a man of your word, being vocal and confident about what you're trying to achieve, but actually making it happen. And this respect is all about enforcing your standards, your boundaries. See, a lot of guys, especially if they're with a very beautiful woman, they immediately bend. They immediately just bend to her will, does whatever she says. She can then do what she wants. She can go out, all of these things. You need to draw the line in the sand. You need to say, no, this is the way it is if you want to be with me, and bring her into your world rather than you changing your world, your dynamic, your set of boundaries just to have her fit into your relationship. That's not how it's going to work. You need to set the boundaries very clear, and it's either you're with me or you're without me. Now, I'm not saying to treat this like a prison camp and make a ton of boundaries that are unrealistic and that she has no say, but you probably have a very clear set of beliefs and values that you would want your woman to act in. So that is extremely important, and that's how you're going to get respect. Because if you start bending and she knows she can take advantage of you like that, she starts seeing you as a lick. The comfort option, the guy who gives her a little bit of money, the guy who houses her. This is a huge issue, and that's when women start cheating, because they find the man they do the respect and they have that high sexual polarity attraction too. The man she's going to want to stay with is the man that actually enforces these boundaries. She may not like it in the moment, she may want to go out with her friends to like a bar or a club, have a couple drinks. Doesn't necessarily mean she has bad intentions, but if that's not something that sits well with you, you need to enforce that, and she will respect you for it, and that's how you're going to keep that attraction. You also need to understand that you need to keep your fitness up. This is the bare minimum. So many guys get into a relationship and just give up because it's comfortable. You guys sit on the couch, eat some ice cream, oh, she's giving you love and affection, and then you start slipping. You gain 15, 20 pounds. How many stories do we hear about guys gaining 30 pounds of fat when they get in a relationship? Your fitness needs to be your bare minimum, your baseline. You need to be staying lean, you need to be staying strong, and this is literally just the foundation of your life. Everything else could be falling apart, but as long as you keep that in check, that is visual proof of your discipline, your delayed gratification, your standards you hold yourself to. You got to think women are looking at this in the long run as well, and they can feel your energy. If you're not working out, you know you're slipping, you know you're not living up to your full potential. They feel that without you even saying a word, and they immediately start feeling off about you. This is so, so important. I never made this mistake, but I see it all the time with guys, and I talk to guys who join my one-on-one coaching, and that's exactly what happens to them. They start slipping with their fitness, attraction loses, the wife wants to leave or the girlfriend, they move out, and then you're in a position where now you've gained 30 pounds of fat, you need to get back in the dating market, but you're completely out of shape, and you lack self-belief because the woman you thought loved you has now just left out of nowhere. And you staying in shape, you maintaining a good physique is just physical proof. It's a receipt that you're not falling into this comfort zone, because women will almost try to lure you in. They think they want that. They say they want you to cuddle up, eat ice cream, all these things, but they really don't. I'm not saying to be crazy obsessive with your macros and be super rigid, because they don't like that either. You do need a little bit of balance, but you need to be 80-90% of the time on point, maintaining a good lifestyle physically and mentally. And one of the biggest things for me was that I knew I was capable of something. I knew I had all this potential. I wanted to move across the world. But my frustration with my current existence, my current reality when I was living in Canada, because I knew I was capable of being up here, but I was still living down here. And that frustration started seeping into everything, every interaction, and I wouldn't even realize it. But I have some videos and I look back when I sometimes upload B-roll, and the way I would speak, the interactions, the bluntness, the rudeness, it comes out in every single interaction, even the way you look, like the way you actually visually communicate. So it's really important that every single time you have a goal or you want to take action on something, you do it immediately. You don't even think twice. This is your job as a man. You want something, you go make it happen. Because if you don't, it eats you up inside. You won't even notice it while it's happening. And that was something that happened to me. And it wasn't until I moved across the world, went through all these different lessons, dating, business, meeting other high-level guys, where I started figuring these things out. And these are really, really important lessons, or else you're just going to constantly get stuck in this loop. And this goes on to the last point, which is you always have to pick growth. Growth over comfort every single day. A relationship is always going to die when you start stagnating or even regressing. See, a woman is going to look up to you if you say you're going to do something and you make it happen. You become a mystical figure. You become like Superman. They can't believe they're actually seeing it. And I have another story where, after that relationship, I went back to Vancouver and I saw a woman. I went on a date with a girl who I had seen years before. And even years ago, 3 years ago, I think I went on a date with her originally, and we used to see each other. I would always talk about I want to do online fitness coaching and all these things, and I had all these dreams. And coming back and she seeing what I had achieved, I'd moved across the world, I was making decent money, I was kind of pursuing my mission and actually making it happen. The reaction I got from her was very visceral. It was almost like amazement that someone is actually doing it. And that's how easy it is to stand out and be ahead of 99% of guys in the world. Just that alone, you being on your mission, doing the thing you actually want, because the truth is most guys, they get their job out of college or they, get a job from their family, and they're not really doing what they want. They're living for the weekend and they're not aligned. They're not actually pursuing anything. They have no North Star. And this comes out, off your energy, and you oode this misalignment in every single conversation you have, even when you walk down the street without saying a word. So you always need to be focusing on leveling up in every single area, and that's what this channel is all about. And I'm just teaching you guys lessons from what I've learned from my experience over the last year, because I basically went on my own hero's journey. And if you guys don't know the hero's journey, it's basically every plot of every story, movie you've ever watched, where the main character, the protagonist, is overcome with this feeling of needing to achieve something and go on this new expedition to achieve a goal or defeat a monster, whatever. People tell him not to do it. He does it anyway. There's all these trials and tribulations. He finds a mentor. He achieves the goal, and then he wants to enlighten others about what he has learned. And so the reason I'm making this story out of nowhere today is because me and this young lady spoke recently, and reflecting back on it, with no ill will, negative feelings, and the progression I had made personally, these are the lessons I got out of it. And what's really important to note is you might actually have to just go through this. You might have to go through a situation like this to actually feel it and understand and grow from it. And honestly, it's almost like a core memory or a canon event for men. And it's so important. But if you make that change, you build the physique, you keep making progress, you keep growing in all areas, they're going to respect you and they're probably going to want you back. They're going to see that growth and realize, even though we had all those issues, I see him evolving, I see him changing, I see him growing. And if you guys want to build that physique and the foundation of all of this, because without the physique, you don't have that social proof. You don't wear that receipt on you every single day. It's a much harder task. You can build the business, you can make the money, you can have all of those things, the success, but without the physique, you're still gonna have your mind eating you alive, knowing you're capable of doing it, because it's one of the easiest things to do out of all those things I just listed. And if you guys wanna make this happen, you wanna expedite this process, click the link below. We'll talk about where you're currently at, where you're trying to get to, how we can build you that dream physique in the next 6 to 12 months.